Shields up, Ironbreakers. We're kind of here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and today I'm going to be sharing with you another one of my builds. This time around, it is going to be a Lance build. And I understand it's not going to be winning any popularity contests because whenever I put up a poll on my community page, for whatever reason, Lance always finishes last. And I can understand it's not the flashiest of weapons, but it is still a lot of fun to play. And I'll tell you right now that there's a lot of people out there that are really missing out because they are underestimating just how fun it is to stand toe-to-toe with a monster. Unlike any other weapon, you can literally stand right in the monster's face, block everything that he's got, and dish it back right at him. And that particular playstyle is a lot of fun to me. However, it is also important to mention that unlike this very malicious tweet that Sox has put out, the Lance is in fact not better than the gun lance, because the gun lance is quite simply the best weapon in the game. I mean, everybody knows that. That's just the way these things are. I guess I should clarify that. That's a bit of a joke. It's just my bias. I personally really love the gun lance. I think the gun lance is better. But as with everything when it comes to Monster Hunter, basically a weapon is only really as good as the hunter wielding it. So maybe the gun lance is the best thing for me. Maybe it's not the best thing for you. Maybe the lance is the best thing for you. Maybe whatever other weapon you happen to be using is the best thing for you. But let's get into the Lance build, shall we? Because that's what you guys are here for. Now, in this particular build, we are going to be using the Saber-Tooth Lance. Now, this is Barioth's Lance, and there's a couple of reasons why I'm using it. So it's got a lot of ice element, which is good. However, there is one that is slightly better, which is the Legiana Lance. It's got, I think, more than 100 more element, and it can be custom modified to add the additional 50, and then you can even augment it for more, so you can get a lot more ice element on the Legiana gun lance. But on the other hand, I'm also a firm believer, it's like, is it really going to make as much of a difference that it's going to justify it? Maybe it does, but at the same time, just look at what the Saber-Tooth Lance looked like. It looks amazing. It looks way better than the Legiana Lance, at least in my personal opinion. So looks also matter because, you know, at the end of the day, that is also important for you to enjoy your playtime. If you want to be all meta about it, I think that the Legiana might be better. However, on the other side, the Saber-Tooth Lance also brings with it a lot of affinity. That's 30% affinity and a higher raw damage. So it does kind of put up a couple of punches against the Legiana, but I still think at the end of the day, the Legiana might end up coming up on top. But whether you want to use this or the Legiana, I'll leave that up to you. You guys can make up your own minds about that stuff. I will be using the Saber-Tooth. Now, when it comes to armor, starting us off, we have the Fulgur Helm Beta because it's got weakness exploit and decent slots, and we're going to be socketing it with a Brace / Vitality Deco and a Tenderizer Jewel. Now, I know that some of you guys might be like, whoa, what's with the Brace? And here's the thing. I play a lot in multiplayer with other people. As you guys know, in my live streams, I try to get as much of you guys involved as I possibly can. And since I play that much multiplayer, having a Brace decoration on your lance, in my opinion, is just fundamental because there's so many players that will flinch a lance user. It's completely insane. It seems like every other attack can flinch you or cause you to block something and then potentially, you know, cause you to not block something from the monster. So having a Brace in multiplayer, really good. If you're not playing multiplayer, if you're a strictly solo player, get something else on this decoration slot. Preferably something with Vitality so that you still get the benefits of Vitality. But other than that, you're pretty much good. Anyways, following it up, we have the Pride Male Beta. And I am so happy I got to include this one because it's the first time that I get to include a Basil piece on an actual set. Because I don't really play that much with guard on most of my sets, despite the fact that I love shields and all that. They're just, right now in the meta, there just isn't budget in most of my sets to use guard. So I end up not using it all that much. But anyways, the Pride Male Beta is going to come in, and we're going to socket it with a Guardian / Expert Deco. And I know not a lot of people are going to have this particular deco, let alone 3 of them, but I have them. And I'm so happy about it. I friggin' love them. Then we're also going to be putting a Frost decoration in there and a Steadfast because we want to be stun immune. Remember I made that video, told you guys about the 2 best skills to have in Master Rank are Health Boost and Steadfast because they're really good. So that is why that is in there. Now, naturally, Acidic Glavenus Braces, it's pretty much no-brainer like I always tell you guys. If you need something to fill to fill an armor slot when in hands and you're not really sure what to do. Acidic Glavenus Brace is just so good, such good budget. Then we're going to slot them with Guardian Expert Jewel 4, Jumping Jewel 2, Iron Wall Jewel 1. We are going to take, we're going to be taking Iron Wall all the way up to level 3 because, you know, I'd love to take it to 5, but really 3 is usually more than enough for most situations, right? And then we have the Shara Ishvalda Coil. Now, this is actually a really good filler if you're needing some health boost on your set. And you guys know me, I love having the 3-piece vitality. So Shara Ishvalda Coil is kind of like a no-brainer. We're going to slot it in with a Guardian Expert Jewel 4 and a Jumping Jewel 2. And finally, we have the Garuga Greaves Beta. I told you guys, I don't know how many builds ago, you're going to be seeing this particular piece a lot on a lot of my sets because quite simply it's just so damn good in terms of budget. You're going to get yourself the Critical Eye. You're going to get yourself a tier 4 slot and 2 tier 2 slots. Really, really good. We're going to be putting an Expert Jewel plus 2 in there, a Tenderizer Jewel, and a Shield Jewel so that you can block anything. Because that's the whole motto of this particular build. You're going to stand in front of whatever you are fighting, and you're going to take everything it's got. And then you're going to dish it right back at them. Finally, we're wrapping up the build with the Frost Charm 5. Now, if you guys remember, we had a Frost decoration somewhere back there. I believe it was in the Proud Male Beta. And the whole point of this is that you're going to pick up lances that have high elemental damage. Because the lance doesn't have that much in terms of motion value. So raw is not as important as elemental because elemental, you know, really shines when your weapon has low motion value. So therefore, you pick up a weapon with high elemental damage and then you put as much elemental damage as you possibly can in there, and then we try to get it to crit as often as you possibly can, and you get a decent amount of damage. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, what about critical element? And I did do a build with critical element for lance, but I would always end up missing something that I would want. I would either end up missing Guardian, or I would end up missing Iron Wall, or health boost, or stun resist, and I really wanted to have all of the skills that I have here, and I couldn't find a way to fit critical element in here. And I know that in terms of damage, right, when it comes to damage, probably the best way to build an elemental lance is also going to be 4-piece Silver Rathalos, and Garuga Greaves, most likely, and then fill up the slots with whatever you can to increase your damage. But when I play Lance, I'm not just thinking about the damage. I'm thinking about the damage, and I'm thinking about the mobility of the Lance with the jumping decos, and I'm also thinking about being able to stand my ground against the monster, which is particularly important for the example that you guys are seeing in the gameplay footage, which is going to be a Tempered Black Diablos, because I know that probably a lot of people struggle with Tempered Black Diablos, so now I do, which is the reason why when I initially made this build, it was specifically with an Ice Lance, so that I could counter Black Diablos and Diablos like. This is the thing that I bring out whenever I need to beat a Diablos, right? So, you know, I like having a good balance of offense and defense when it comes to lances. If you want to go full offensive, like I said, you want 4-piece Silver Rathalos and Garuga Greaves, and then just have at it with all the skills that you want. Now, continuing on is the finalized build. You're going to be having Critical Eye level 7, Ice Attack level 6, Stun Resist level 3, Health Boost level 3, Weakness Exploit level 3, Guard level 3, Offensive Guard level 3, Evade Extended level 2, Flinch Free Guard up. And I know that some of you might have experimented with Lance and Offensive Guard, and you're like, oh, but it doesn't work with the counters, and I don't know what's going on. It does work with the counters. The window for the counters is just extremely tight. So you really have to counter at the very last second in order to get benefit from Offensive Guard. I myself haven't really mastered it all that much because I don't play that much Lance, but I've had a lot of people ask me about, Rurikon, what about that Lance build? What's up with the Lance build? And I felt like I needed to refine it first because this is not the one that I made on the stream, because I made a Lance build on the stream, and that particular Lance build I was not super happy with. It didn't have Weakness Exploit, didn't have a lot of stuff. Now, a couple of more tips if you happen to be using this against a Tempered Diablos. Be very careful about your Clutch Claw counter, okay? it can get you killed a lot of times. It definitely got me killed while I was recording gameplay for you guys. And as a matter of fact, even the attempt that you are watching, I fainted once during this particular quest. Why? Because I got greedy with the clutch counter. Because the clutch counter is so much fun. You just want to do it all the time, right? The problem is that a tempered Diablos deals so much goddamn damage that if he happens to catch you in the middle of that clutch claw counter and just keeps on dealing damage, he's going to murk you. And there's nothing you can do about it. But still, if you're not too greedy with your clutch claw counters, I believe that you can take this particular build and put it up against just about anything, so long as you adapt the respective element to whatever you happen to be fighting. Now, I didn't do different builds like I've done for other elemental weapons because I don't plan on using Lance all that much personally, but it's pretty simple. Just pick whatever Lance has the highest elemental damage and preferably no negative affinity, and then just like build around what you got here with that Lance, and it should be fairly easy for you to adapt this, because the only thing you really have to swap around is the charm and that one decoration. And then considering that this particular Lance doesn't even have slots, whatever slots you get on your other Lances are just bonus. You can put whatever you want in there. So yeah, that's my Lance build. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit it up with a like. If you didn't enjoy the video, hit it up with a dislike, because feedback is important. Feedback, which you can also leave in the comment section down below. So, once again, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. If you enjoyed my content, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, all the usual stuff. Stay strong, and may your shields never break.